Alrighty, the hem is all nice and pressed and ready to go. And I am at my cover stitch machine getting ready to sew this. I will add, if you are using a regular sewing machine, twin needle stretch stitch, either is acceptable. I just have a cover stitch, so I use it. So I have my needle threads to match the top of my dress, so I'm using a mint color thread. And then for the inside, for my looper, I am using a white thread, just because I like the visual of the underside. I like my fabrics to match on the individual sides. So that's entirely up to you how you do that. That is my personal preference. And as I said, when I start, I don't know, I just always like to start my projects in the back. So that's also how I did this. I'm gonna start in the back. And what I like to do, I like to find a spot where it looks pretty even, because you're working with curved surfaces, so it's a little different, a little more difficult to figure it out. I think this is a 1/2 inch. I'm starting, yeah. So I'm starting mine about a 1/2 inch from, I'm gonna top stitch about a 1/2 inch from the curved edge. And just, you're gonna go around the entire dress till you get back to this point. I like to take my time, and there's a lot of pivoting because you are working with curves. And I just kind of take my time. Once I get into a groove, I'm a little more able to kind of just breeze through it more, but it does take me a few seconds. I definitely just recommend taking your time versus trying to just rush through it. Taking your time, as I said, pays off. It's a lot of work, a lot of love went into this dress, and the last thing you want to do is ruin it because you're trying to rush a process. I'm certainly not, you see how there I was able to do that a little easier. I'm certainly not a pro when it comes to this. You want to make sure, you notice I keep looking at the underside. I'm just making sure that the facing is flat, because you don't want it curled up and you're stitching over it. You want it to stay nice and flat. Like here, you see how it grabbed onto the edge of the cover stitch, so I just want to keep making sure I'm keeping my eye on that and adjusting that as needed. Like really not a hard step at all. It's just time consuming. I think that's honestly like the only thing with the scallop. It's not hard, it just takes time. And if you like to speed sew, as I call it, because I do, it just makes you feel like you're, oh, I'm slowing down, it's taking forever kind of thing. And I'm coming back where I started. I throw a lot of threads. It's an annoying habit of mine, but I clean my space, so. And because I'm using a cover stitch, I'm very particular on making sure I hit my last stitches, so I kind of walk it through at the end just to make sure I'm going directly over my stitch line. And voila, the facing is top stitched in. I don't know how well you can see it. It's all top stitched. And then I gonna use, let me grab them. Hopefully I don't bump the camera. I use these little embroidery scissors, little curved scissors, to help me trim the excess facing away. I like to get as close as I can. Obviously you don't want to clip into your actual stitches. I want a little closer. Once you get where you want to be, it's pretty easy to like. Okay, I think that's where I want to be. And then I just take the scissors and just snip carefully around. I trim mine in pieces. I'm not good with like this one long strip of fabric. And I go back and clean up spaces that don't come out as nice as I want them. That is okay. I don't know how well you can see that process, but yeah, you're just gonna use scissors and trim off all of this extra facing. And then once I'm done with that step, I take it back for a final press, a steam press again, just to lock those stitches in place. I don't know how well you can see the stitches, but they're really nice. Yeah, but that's it on hemming the scalloped hem on the Tangerine. And only thing after this is just hemming the neckline, which I can show you how I prepare that as well real quick. So I'm pretty good at like mental measuring or visually measuring, because I have this habit that even if a hem calls for 1 inch, I still do a 1/2 inch, because I know a 1/2 inch on my cover stitch perfectly. But you are just going to fold your neckline 1/2 inch all the way around. And I just add some clips there. I think in testing, people were having a little issue right here at the shoulder. And what I do, I match the way the seam, so when I sewed the sleeve on, the seam went to the back. So I'm gonna fold the seam also, keeping the seam to the back. And then you kind of have to ease, because you see like here, it doesn't want to fold like flat. It's the shape of the neckline and the shape of the dress. Like if you just try to fold it, it kind of like, it doesn't want to fold. So you have to kind of stretch it and work it into your 1/2 inch. But it's possible. I like to do the back center first to give me what my 1/2 inch will be. Then I go over to the shoulder, 1/2 inch for the shoulder, fold there, measure, clip it in place, and then manipulate this fabric here to fall in line to a 1/2 inch. And once you actually sew it and you press, it comes out nice. Like it doesn't look warped. It doesn't look like you forced it or stretched it. It lays perfectly fine. My daughter has 3 of these and they all look really nice at the neckline. But yeah, and then I do the same for the front. You just want to find your front to your 1/2 inch. And then kind of force this curve here to do the same thing. And then repeat the same process on the other shoulder seam. And then you do the same exact thing. I'm gonna run it through my cover stitch, top stitch it, arm hem also 1/2 inch, fold it to the wrong side. I use clips to hold it in place, and then I run it through the cover stitch and I press at the end. I know some people do like to press before they hem, but for me it works either way. So I usually just fold it over, cover stitch, and then press at the end. But if you have any questions on hemming, I know this might have been a little more lengthy, but I just wanted to be thorough and make sure that anything I thought needed addressing was addressed. So, But if you have any questions, don't feel like oh, this was a long video, I shouldn't need to ask questions. If you have questions or you need help with something, please let me know and I will get that help for you. I will see y'all's finished dresses. Bye.